Hello and welcome to Chapter 8, Lesson 3 on what we're going to call the Holocaust. Now this is a name that it has a different name depending on what someone's background might be. So this is the more commonly known name, but it's kind of changing now. The Holocaust, the word that means whole, like hollow, and caust, like caustic, burning, burnt. What it means is a whole sacrifice, or a whole burnt sacrifice. It's a term that means that this event we're looking at, the experience of it can feel like an entire sacrifice. The term that would be that's commonly used among the Jewish people would be the Shoah, a term that means the calamity. So on your notes will look a little bit like this. So I'll try and make the notes part pretty quick, and then afterwards I'll give you some additional information that if you don't want to watch it, you don't have to. So the Holocaust is an example of prejudice and discrimination taken to the extreme. It's what happens when you have prejudice and discrimination in a certain context. It can get wildly out of control and very deadly. So just some definitions. When a group of people tries to completely wipe out another group, you may know homicide, killing a human. This is genocide, killing a genetic line, killing a group of people, genocide. And we're looking at here a crime. The Nazis would say it wasn't a crime, but they were put on trial and found guilty of the crime of genocide, trying to wipe out another group of people. Abstaining from buying or using certain products to reject certain businesses. It's a form of protest. We'll see this with the civil rights movement, but the Nazis and the Nazi Party uses that against the Jewish citizens in Germany and other countries that they occupy. Racism against Jews. The Jews are considered part of the Semitic race if you are categorizing by race, which, by the way, today that's a somewhat controversial thing, and not many sociologists would use race as a way of classifying people. But if you were classifying by race, the Semitic race, in an area in the Middle East, that would include the Jewish people, and if you don't like them, that would be anti-Semitic. So that's the term for what the Nazi Party wants, or what they're advocating, anti-Semitism. Large prison the Nazis built as a part of their final solution. That term final solution is it's a code the Nazis used to solve the problem of Jewish people living among the Aryans. They called it their final solution, but they put them in concentration camps, which is a little bit like a reservation for Native Americans. This is the concentration camp. Emancipation, releasing, freeing the people. We refer to when the Allied powers discovered these camps and freed the people. We refer to that as the moment of liberation. The systematic attempt by the Nazis to rid Europe of all Jews, that's what we're discussing. That's the term Holocaust. So we refer to the Holocaust, we're referring to the systematic attempt by the Nazis to rid Europe of all Jews. Now it does include other groups that we will discuss in class, but the Holocaust refers to the group of the Jews being targeted, but there are other groups that are part of that as well. So the Holocaust. Hitler believed the Jews were the cause of Germany's problems. That Great Depression they're going through, the unemployment, the fact they lost World War I, all that stuff he blames on the Jews as a way of kind of getting the German people to target somebody. This is kind of a rough metaphor, but in the same way that when you go to a Redskins game, it might be helpful or good for everyone getting up out of their seats if they have someone to be mad at. So if they're mad at the Cowboys, then that gets everyone riled up and they hate the Cowboys. So Hitler is going to get the people of Germany kind of out of the depression by targeting the Jewish people. The belief that his race is superior to all other races, and Hitler believed he was part of the Aryan race, and he believed that they were supreme over all the races. That's called Aryan Supremacy. The belief that the Aryan race is superior to all others. So that racist belief along with these other things, when you kind of follow these next tactics, that leads to the Holocaust. So it starts with this racist belief, and then it takes action with what we're about to look at. So the first step is just threats, intimidation. People just saying things, racist comments, just making the Jewish citizens in Germany feel unwelcome. Then it goes to the economics and a boycott. Stop shopping at Jewish stores. Target them, label them, and don't shop there. So you're now physically threatening them with violence or just the feeling of violence, boycotting their stores, stop shopping there. And then at some point, Hitler and the Nazi Party and Germany, they call for the segregation of Jewish people. They start to ID them and have them live in a different area. So that's where the term ghettos actually comes from, is they're being forced to live there. And that's the next step comes from that. So it's not very far from putting them in the same neighborhood. So you have people who are of different classes. The Jewish people are a very diverse group, even within their faith. You'll have people who are wealthy, people who are poor, but now they're all in the same neighborhood, and they are very uncomfortable living situations. From that, they go to the prison camps and the death camps, imprisonment and killing of Jews and others in concentration camps and death camps. Those are kind of two different kinds of camps. There are camps where they are put to work, and there are camps where the purpose of the camp is to kill as fast as they can. By the end of the war, the Jews were liberated by Allied forces. It was quite a shock. Many people understood something was happening, but it wasn't until they got into the German territory, taking back land from actual Germany, not just the parts of France, that when they got into Poland, they began to see what the Germans had actually been doing, and they liberated the people who had been in the concentration camps and the death camps. After that, the next step was putting them on trial. This is a pretty important part as well, the putting them on trial, letting America and the rest of the world know what had happened there, and trying to really prove that it wasn't just we're defeating them and executing them because they lost, but because they committed unusual crimes of war. So now at this point, if you have those notes done, you're welcome to tune out. Yeah, if you could. So now I'm just going to give you a little bit of additional information if you want it. So let's look at the final solution. Is a problem where Hitler is expanding. He has one goal, is he wants Germans to have a purpose, which is expansion, taking back land, that term Lebensraum, living space. So he's going to expand his people. That's their purpose now. That's what drives them out of the Depression, is they have something to do now. They're expanding. And they're also at the same time trying to take the Jewish population that's in Germany, and they want them out. So they want more room, but they also want what they do have to be what they consider pure. So they're expanding their borders, and they're trying to kick the Jewish population and other undesirable people out of their borders. So as their borders expand, and they take over Austria, and then Czechoslovakia, and then Poland, and by the way, Russia also invades half of Poland. So even though Russia are our allies, Stalin is an evil human being, and he takes over half of Poland. Eventually, this is what Fortress Europe looks like when Hitler takes over all this area. He can't take Britain. If you recall from the previous lesson, he can't get into Britain and invade it. But he does have all this, and there's a large Jewish population here. So his problem is he can't get rid of that population fast enough. Other people, other countries aren't accepting the Jews from Europe. America isn't either. So the final solution is setting up this is Europe, setting up death camps. And you may notice that all the death camps, as opposed to the concentration camps, The death camps are in Poland, or the land that was Poland that Hitler had taken, the Germans had taken. So this land is where he keeps the crime. He doesn't have the crime take place in his own backyard. He has it in Poland. So he is aware that what he's doing is considered a crime of war. I want to look at the numbers of what this looks like, and then we'll get some more detail after this, perhaps. So the Jewish population before World War II down here, looking at 8 million people. Actually, I'm sorry, close to 9 million people. The number killed in World War II in the Holocaust is 5.9 million. That's about a loss of 67%. That is a horrible, horrible thing. And you can see in the numbers that are green over here, that means that's where the population was larger. So Poland, in the Ukraine, and Russia, Romania, and yeah. We'll see you for the next lesson.